Hello, myself Ramanandi. So today I'm going to explain how to deploy the application using CircleCI into AWS EC2 Windows Server. So I will walk through the entire CI/CD pipeline for each commit in the Bitbucket. Okay, here whenever you commit the source code, immediately it will build the CircleCI related job, and then it will validate our commit, and it will build and generate the artifacts, and if it is release branch, then it's going to push our artifacts into AWS EC2 Windows Server box by using the SSH authentication. Okay. For this, we need some prerequisites. I'm not going to cover all the steps end to end. So I'm taking one small use case. I'm going to explain why I'm following this kind of approach, something like that. So for that, we need prerequisites like Bitbucket account. Once you have Bitbucket account, we can use we can integrate CircleCI as well. We can utilize 1 month free trial as well. After that, we need AWS EC2 dedicated Windows server. After that, we need open SSH server setup on EC2 box. We can generate we are communicating SSH authentication. That's why we need anyhow we are using Windows server. That's why we need open SSH server. For that, we need to generate SSH private and public key by using SSH key gen. After that, we are using AWS EC2 box, right? For that, we need to enable inbound outbound rules for that box, particularly SSH port 2222. Not only that, we need to, once we are enabling, we are communicating to remote server means in Windows environment, by default, command prompt is our default SSH shell. Instead of that, I'm changing to PowerShell Shell. PowerShell to execute the remote commands can execute our local script into remote server. Right? For that execution environment, I'm setting PowerShell. So I will walk through this entire things one by one in quickly. So let's move to here. This is the installation process. We need to open SSH server. For this, we are installing by using PowerShell. We can execute these commands in administrator mode, so it automatically set up. Once it is set up, we can start the SSHD service, open SSH server service automatically. After that, we need to enable the port number. So not only that, we can generate the SSH keys by the SSH keys and private and public keys. We can generate those things. After that, we can place our public key into specifically in authorized keys file, means administrator authorized keys files in program.ssh program data.ssh files. If you follow these things, you will get easily understand that. So by using this command, we can set default SSH shell and Windows server is PowerShell. You can utilize this one. So this is the CircleCI home UI. If you have Bitbucket account, you can log in with Bitbucket. If you have GitHub, you can use GitHub as well. Okay. So this is the things. Before going into code, so we need to set up some project level in here. We need to, once you are logging to, let's say I have Bitbucket account, so I'm going to log in this account. Let's go to this terminal. This is my Bitbucket. Right now I have only one release branch is main. So this is my source code. If you are using the CircleCI, definitely we need to use in root folder, we need to make sure .circlecli file. Within this file, we need this config.yaml file. This is the key role for this CircleCI jobs. So if you log in with Bitbucket account, if you can choose your repository, if you go to this dashboard, you can see our project right now. QA testing is our my repository name. So within this repository, you can see this one. So we need to set the first project settings. So like we are communicating with AWS box, right? So for that we need to set up some of the environment variables. So go to environment variables. So this is the my artifacts location. So this artifacts location is this is this variable I am use this key I am using in CircleCI VM. So this key for communicating private key file name. So this is my SSH key file name. So this is my server host name. This is my Windows server. So this is my server username. Like once you are administrator or any something, but right now I'm using administrator account directly. So I'm placing here these as environment variable. So after generating private and public key, so we'll configure public key in our Windows server AWS EC2 box. We can use the public key within to communicate from any server. So if you click on add SSH key, you can give your host name, you can place our private key. Once we are placing this thing, it will generate the fingerprint like this. Right now I'm not using any host name, but I'm using this is test box, test server, so that's why I'm not using. So it will generate automatically this kind of fingerprint. So if you go to environment variable, so for example, what kind of details I given here. If you want to see my values, key values, if you go to here. So AWS server username is my username. This is my host name. So AWS private key name means nothing but file name. I supposed to write file name. So this is the file name. So if you open this Windows, go to this SSH folder. If you are generating this one, IDRSA is the my private key. So similarly, if you have any private key, every private key files we can place here. After that, by using the SSH agent, we can register our private key into SSH agent. We can communicate to our remote box. Okay. So if you observe, you go to the CircleCI SSH key, go down, copy this one, go to here and place here. If you observe, almost everything is safe. So here we need to remove this semicolon. That's it. Why? Because it won't support maybe file name. It won't support colons. That's why they are saving in this template. So this is IDRESA hyphen followed by our SSH key fingerprint value without semicolon. So I am placing here. This is my artifacts location in the CircleCI VM. Okay. So this is my global variables project settings. After that, see already I deployed in my AWS box. This is the sample site. I already running in my I running from my AWS EC2 box. So right now I'm going to modify something here. Headers. I want to remove this entire CircleCI and I want to commit this source code. So I'm going to source code here. So go to layout. I'm removing CircleCI. So I modified some of the code changes here. So save it. But before committing this, I want to walk through .circlecli files as well. So if you go to here, this is the main file. So I'm using the CircleCI version 2.1 version and ARBS. So once you commit the source code, it will automatically spin up the Windows environment VM virtual box within the CircleCI cloud. Not in our cloud, in CircleCI, it will spin up the Windows box by default. Okay, this ops by default we are spinning this image. This image will hold some default installed software. If you go to CircleCI documentation, if you go and see, it will spin up the Windows Server 2019 with Visual Studio 2019 edition. So we have PowerShell 5 version, .NET Framework 4.8, .NET Core, and a Git. So they are using Git as well. Okay, something like that. So this is the we have two jobs here. Mm, Once it will spin up, initially it will pick the ops, what kind of op we are using, whether Windows or Linux image. It will read these things from, it will spin up the VMs. After that, based on the committed, if you are committing in release branch, it will execute the workflows. Means right now we have two workflows. One is the build and deploy workflow and build. So after spin up this image, it will come to here. It will check the workflows. So where you committed, whether it is in release branch. If it is doing the release branch, means we need to build that release that branch, and we need to deploy that artifacts into our destination deployment server. Right? So this is my release branch. So this is my if other than release branch, if you are doing some development, I don't want to deploy. So for that, just we need to build and test. If you are writing any test cases, we can do some kind of activity. So other than release branch, I'm going to trigger this build job. Okay, right now, if you go and see the, let's assume right now I'm changing in master branch, so it's my release branch. So my executor by default Windows default. So we have steps within this job. We have steps. It will follow steps. Initially, what we need the source code, right? It will check out the source code from Bitbucket particular branch release. Based on where you committed that branch, it will pick the source code. Okay. After that, it will add the SSH keys. So whatever you mention in global project level environment settings, it will pick up the it will add the SSH keys. So once after spinning this Windows box, it will generate the SSH private key. Means whatever you added in project environment variables, it will generate one. It will create a one file here, ID RSA hyphen followed by this fingerprint value without colon value. Okay, so this fingerprint is whatever we mentioned here. If you go to CircleCI, this is same fingerprint 056E, whatever is there is same thing. Okay, after that it will build our job. So we are getting the source code, right? After that we are adding the SSH key, then we are building our job. Means so we need to build our source code, right? Then I am executing this PowerShell script. So I'm going to here, and this is my PowerShell script to build. So this is artifacts location. This is my environment variable I set, right? So I'm reading my artifacts location from my CircleCI VM environment variables. So this is my artifacts location in CircleCI VM. So it means where it will store C. Within the C, it will create the /core/demo. Within this folder, it will place our all artifacts within this location after publishing this project. So this is my project, existing project. So I created one function. So it will come to here. It will call this. I'm giving the exact path address of my project where there is our project. It will come to here. It will .NET. It's by default. This my VM is in CircleCI VM is by default .NET supported installed. So no need any dependencies installation. So I'm using this command to generate my artifacts. within this location. This is my published location. If you go and see, this is my published location, means artifacts location, where I want to deploy my local artifacts within the VM, CircleCli VM. So after generating the artifacts, I am deleting the web.config file. So I don't want to keep on updating that web.config file. I'm deleting from CircleCli local CircleCli VM. Okay. After build, so next I am updating the host. So once while you are trying to connect with the remote server from any Windows machines, initially it will prompt some kind of window, means it will prompt the, do you want to continue, something like that, do you want to trust this kind of host, something like that. Some kind of prompts will come to overcome those things. So whatever the host, we need to trust our remote server, right? So for that, we have in this directory there is a known host file. So we need to place our remote server trusted key, means a trusted format. So if you go to this job, it will scan our AWS machine. It will if you know, sorry, this one, right? Yeah. If you know this, if you know the SSH key scan, it will scan our host name and it will create the trusted. It will create that scanning related information we can place here within the known host. It means once we are placing, we didn't get any prompts while communicating our remote mission. Okay, that uh, that issue we can resolve by using SSH key scan. After that, next deploy to issue items. So everything I am using the PowerShell script, but while deploying, I'm using the bash, this shell script. Why? Right? So it's a combination of the PowerShell script and shell scripts. Why? Because I'm facing one issue while implementing this use case. So if you go and see here, so my SSH agent is running. So if by default, SSH agent will hold our private key and it will establish the communication to our remote server. So my SSH agent by default, it's not running on our CircleCli VM. Even though I started manually by commands. Even though after starting, I am adding my private key into I am adding my SSH key, my private key into like this by using the PowerShell script. I'm trying to do, but anyhow, somehow, while I am trying to add this my private key within CircleCI VM, I'm facing this kind of error. So error connecting to agent to unknown error. So to overcome this error, I am using the git bash to communicate remote server. Okay, that's why my YAML means my entire CI/CD is a combination of PowerShell and shell script. Otherwise, I always choose PowerShell only. But due to this error, I am using the shell script. So if you go to this shell script bash with bash setup.ts, if you go to here, so this my Windows app, means this Windows image will hold the git. So in this directory we have git bash, right? So I'm executing through git bash this deploy. I am calling one more shell script to deploy my artifacts into remote machine. So if you go to this file, so here my artifacts location format is in Windows file format. Like if you go to here, it's a backward slash. So but in shell script, it's a need forward slash, right? So I'm converting that a Windows structure into shell understandable path. Okay, here I am hard coded. I'm using the C drive. If you are using another drive, you can place anything here. Okay, it will generate all these artifacts. This is the my artifacts location. If you go to here, this is the format. If you are using that query, it will generate the shell understandable like this. It will generate like something like that. After that, it will initialize the SSH agent within the git bash. Okay. After establishing the means enabling this git. After enabling this SSH agent, we are adding our private key. So in this location, anyhow, I already told you, like I'm reading the SSH file name from our CircleCli project environment variables, right? So if you go to here, this add SSH keys, this step will create the it will create this file within this CircleCli home directory within .ssh file. Within this file, within this folder, it will generate the file like this idrsa hyphen something like that. It's already there. From that location, I am adding that private key, my private key into this SSH agent. Once we are adding this SSH agent, it will anyhow we are using IIS, right? IIS is my deployment server. So we need to stop the application pool, right? As of now, I'm using only default pool for testing testing purpose. So I'm starting the app pool. After that, we are pushing our local artifacts. Means our job is build. It will generate after building out after build. It will generate the some artifacts, right? So we are pushing our artifacts to this directory. This is my remote server directory. This is also we can read from CircleCli project level environment variables. For time being, I hard coded here. For best practice, we need to read this path from environment variables only. Okay, this SAP command will copy our local CircleCli VM local artifacts to our AWS EC2 box. Within this location C drive core. Within this folder, it will replace all the files within this folder to this folder. After that, we are starting the app pool. Then after starting app pool, we are removing our private key from this SSH agent for security purpose. We are removing. Anyhow, CircleCli will automatically destroy this VM after completion of our job. There is next we are going to config file. So we did this, right? So once this build and deploy job done, so if you are committing any non-release branch, so non-release branch is just only one step. We need to check out the source code, just build that source code, whether any build errors are there or not, just to cross verification purpose, this job will be triggered. Okay. Next, I will for time being I changed this thing, right? This way I already deployed. This is my deployed app. Right now we are going to change this CircleCI. We are removing this CircleCI from this home. So I updated my source code. So if you go to my CircleCI home directory, still I didn't commit my source code. So right now 8th pipeline number 8, build number 10. Okay, now I'm going to commit my changes. Go to home, changes, layout, stage. commit. Once commit is completing, automatically it will trigger the job. So as of now, I'm committing in my release branch. So it will build and deploy. So I'm committing in my release branch. So it will commit and deploy. If you see, automatically triggering this job. If you go and open here, so here initially it will spin up the new environment in CircleCli. It will create the one new VM for to build our job, do some kind of validations, means testings, or if you have any test, we can it will execute our test within the CircleCli VMs. After that, it will prepare the some of the environment variables. Environment variables means it will whatever you placed in project level environment variables, right? So it will read in this stage, in this step. Okay. After that, it will check out the source code. So after that, it will check out the source code. After that, right now we are doing this thing, right? Check out. After that, it will add the SSH keys. It's adding the SSH keys. After that, it will build our job. So it will build and the application. It will publish in this location. Artifacts, whatever the global variables, it won't print in this consoles. Okay. After that, what will you do? Update the host. It will do this step. Update the host means it will update the known within SSH folder. It will update our AWS remote host name into this known host file. So after that, it will start the deploying our app. See, my app is started. If you go and refresh, I'm unable. My app pool is stopped, right? So that's why I'm unable to access this application. Let's go and check the logs. See, here still running. Yeah, done. Started deployment. It will push all my build artifacts. It will push all the build artifacts into my destination remote server. After that, application will be again started. Then after starting application pool, we are removing our private key. See, if you see in this location, our file is there. So whatever the file name we are mentioning here, this is because of this starts we are reading this from project level environment settings. So we are removing our private key from CircleCI VM. So okay, it's done. Let's go and refresh our application. Got it. We removed the CircleCI, right? It means our code changes is replicated into our AWS EC2 machine, okay? EC2 Windows Server. Similarly, if you go and create one more non-release branch, let's go and create one more branch. So let's assume this is a development branch. Okay, I'm going to create. It means it's a non-release branch. If you are using non-release branch, what will be triggered? What kind of job will be triggered here? Build job. Only build job will be triggered. So put all branches. See only build. So this is my non-release branch. That's why it's here also. It will spin up the new VM. So it will spin up the new VM. If you go to previous one also, in previous job, see VM ID is my VM ID is something random 93366. Right here, spinning. It means so as of right now, I think it's in a maintenance operational state. So it's creating a little bit. So it will spin up the new VM. So this is non-release branch, right? If you go to and see non-release branch, what it will do? Non-release branch means it will trigger build. This build job. If you go and see build, in build job, we have only two steps. One is check out the source code and then build a job. Build the existing application. If you go and see, still, yeah, see, if you see here 4966, if you go to here, sorry, if you see 92364, 92364, 9661. Just wait. I think this is not correct. It will not. For sure, it won't. Maybe I immediately I started. This lifespan is 10 minutes. I think 75387. See PM. If you observe here, maybe agent request ID is same, but if you observe this one 8480, this is something new. This is something dynamic. It's a not same VM. It's a new one. Okay. If you see this one, ID may be same some cases, but 923. Sorry, this is also different. 92364. 64366. If you observe here 3666 VM, here 966. So it means a different VM. So it will also pick all the global environment variables, check out in the source code. It will build our and publish our applications. If any build errors, it will throw the errors. See, my job was success. So I think almost I covered. So thank you so much. Still you have any doubts, you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm available. Feel free, contact me. Later my knowledge I can share you. That's it from my end. Thank you all.